Hi learners, welcome to the 14th lesson of my course Ecology from Cells to Gaia. Today we will talk about regulating ecological processes. The beaver is a classic example of an organism which modifies its environment for its own benefit. They usually construct dams when the water is shallow, and by raising the water level they produce ponds which allow them both to swim to their food sources and store food supplies underwater. Therefore, by modifying their environment, ecological engineers provide themselves with a better environment. However, their engineering also modifies the environment for other species. My research group recently discovered that beavers' dams, even though the releases more methane, increases the biomass and the carbon stocked in the ponds where they live. We need to give biomass rather than species richness much more attention than has traditionally been the case in ecology. The mass ratio theory should be at the center of planetary as well as plant community ecology. As I told you last time, the origin of Daisy world models lies in an attempt by James Lovelock to counter claims of teleology leveled against his Gaia hypothesis. In classic version of Daisy world, a cloudless planet is the home of two kinds of plants conventionally called daisies. One type is dark colored. The ground covered by it reflects less light than does bare ground, and the other is light colored, reflecting more light than bare ground. These daisies are usually referred to as black and white. Black daisies absorb more light energy than do white ones, and so become warmer. The temperature of the planet Daisy world is governed by the input of stellar energy and the albedo of the planet, so life and the physical environment are therefore coupled in the model. Consider a planet that is slowly receiving more stellar energy as its star warms. The planet reaches a temperature that enables daisies to grow and their seeds to germinate. However, as conditions are cool, the black daisies grow better than the white ones, because their dark color allows them to absorb more stellar radiation and so heat up. The black daisies will therefore come to dominate the initial community. As these dark plants spread, they warm the planet, providing a positive feedback which enhances the spread of life on the planet. At high temperatures, the white daisies have a selective advantage over the black daisies, and so their population expands, which tends to cool the planet by increasing its albedo. Eventually, only white daisies are left and are finally killed off as the temperature rises even further. This is another potential reason for expecting life on any planet with a persistent ecology to be a planet-wide phenomenon, as it allows life to be involved in regulating processes of planetary significance. An interesting question which follows from these observations is what is the net climatic effect of boreal forest in the context of global warming? We normally think of forests as having a beneficial effect by acting as carbon sinks and so potentially reducing global warming, but the net warming effect of creating a lower albedo at higher latitudes will tend to counteract the cooling effect of carbon sequestration. Dimethylsulfonopropionate, DMSP, is found at high concentration from 100 to 400 mmol per liter in the cells of many marine algae, including coccolithophorids and dinoflagellates. DMSP breaks down to dimethylsulfide, DMS, which is the most common form of volatile sulfur in the ocean and a major source of cloud condensation nuclei. Warmer conditions potentially favor algal growth, so leading to more DMS and so more cloud and therefore cooler conditions with less DMS production. This is a negative feedback system. Another ecological engineer could be considered the bog mosses Phanium. They also have much more in common with the plants of the planet Daisy world. The mosses are characteristic plants of many peat bogs and thrive in wet conditions. Sphanium can hold up to 20 times its own weight in water with the aid of special empty hyaline cells, which allow it to act like a sponge. As such, the moss makes its own local environment wetter and so more suitable for it, while also making the whole bog ecosystem wetter. So at the end of this lesson, I have two questions for you. The first is, do you know other species that can be considered as ecological engineer? And the second is, how these engineer species influence their ecosystems? So thank you for the attention, see you in the next lesson.